Moi j'ai une autre question. Après 30 ans de réflexion, ou pas, il n'en a peut-être pas eu. Pour lui, les livres dont vous êtes le héros, les gamebooks, c'est plutôt destiné à des lecteurs ou à des joueurs ou à un mélange des deux.
So 30 years after, do you think these books are aimed at readers or players or both?
I guess that I would say that they're called game books. Do you have it's the same thing? I would say it's 70% game, 30% book.
Je pense que tout le monde a à peu près suivi. Alors, ce sont des livres-jeux, donc on est bien à la croisée des chemins. Et donc selon style, c'est 70% de jeu et 30% de livre. Voilà.
Je vais poser la question en français, je vais laisser Sophie traduire. Je travaille avec le Gallimard en tant que traducteur. I'll ask the question in English. Possibly it's something you're going to talk about when you bring out the iPad, so please feel free to pass over it for now. For the apps that you mentioned earlier, certainly there's things like Blood of the Zombies, House of Hell, I think The Forest of Doom, all which came up with Tin Man Games. I saw that the Planete-Ldvelh Hills, it's going to be using the Inkle engine, which looks quite different, the combat system seems different, things like this. What's the explanation, what's the reasoning behind this?
Basically...
Donc c'est une question qui concerne davantage le domaine des nouvelles technologies. Apparemment il en dira un mot, mais peut-être que ça sera développé plus amplement quand on aura les applications iPad vraiment sous les yeux. Des questions sur justement le système de règles de combat, comment adapter ça sur un support différent.
One of the major advantages, it's a bit naughty, but of having sorcery as a sort of series that's outside the main series, a fighting fantasy book, is that from a licensing point of view, we can treat them separately. So if, for example, Tin Man were going to be producing all the fighting fantasy books, it would take years for them to convert them. And we can't let anybody else jump in at number 20 because this is a series and Tin Man have the rights to the series. But sorcery is something separate. So it's always been licensed. I mean, in many territories there is a publisher for fighting fantasy and there's a publisher for sorcery. In France, Gallimard did both, but in a lot of other countries there were two separate publishers. In Japan, very big difference because the original series, running on a bit here. Because the original series was done by a small publisher who was used to publishing academic books, 5,000 copies. And it went very well, and a large publisher came, and they couldn't have fighting fantasy because it was already permitted, but they got sorcery.
Donc, d'un point de vue de gestion des droits, etc., et de conversion sur des supports nouveaux, sorcellerie forme une série à part. Donc, c'est beaucoup plus facile de gérer les droits et de s'occuper de la conversion que sur une série qui comporte quand même un très grand nombre de volumes. Et puis Gallimard est encore une fois un peu l'exception puisqu'il y a à la fois des films fantastiques et sorcellerie, mais ce n'est pas le cas dans tous les pays. Par exemple au Japon, c'est deux éditeurs différents pour ces deux catégories d'ouvrages.
And I have, just before I came over to this to the show here, Inkle Studios sent me a build of the first sorcery book, so I have it on my iPad if you're interested in seeing it.
Donc lui il a une application sur son iPad et je ne sais pas si ça viendra compléter ce que montrera Terence, mais oui.
Hi. I'm a fantasy writer. Me and also my co-writer Nicolas. My name is Romain, and I have a question about how to come up with all this stuff, mostly, because you have written quite a few of these game books. So when you reach a certain point, do you wonder what kind of monster can I do now, what kind of exotic location can I do now, what kind of little truck can I do now.
No question, no question.
Donc, je vais juste donc une question sur le procédé créatif et voilà, après un certain nombre d'ouvrages, comment ça se passe, comment penser à un nouveau type de monstre, un nouveau type de lieu, un nouveau type de piège, ce genre de choses.
I think today it's a bit easier, because also a bit more difficult, because in those days, and this was a standard that was set by Dungeons and Dragons really, you could walk into a room and there's two goblins in there, and then walk into a room further down the corridor and there's a minotaur in there, and there's no reason why would there be a minotaur here and a goblin over here. You could get away with that in 1982, not these days.
Donc à l'époque, c'était apparemment peut-être plus facile qu'aujourd'hui, puisque se retrouver dans tel endroit, rencontrer deux gobelins, et puis un espace plus loin, rencontrer un minotaure, rien à voir, c'était totalement envisageable. Il y avait peut-être plus de liberté, moins de recherche d'une cohérence plus contraignante qu'aujourd'hui.
But today, writing today something similar, you need to have a consistent world. I would say. I don't think you get away with having goblins next to orcs, next to dwarves, sitting in a room and there's
You are the best seller.
Sorry?
You are the best seller.
The best, yeah, well.
I think we
Donc voilà.
Different sellers.
Donc oui, il vient de confirmer qu'aujourd'hui, il faut davantage avoir un univers cohérent et pas mélanger des monstres venus de différents univers. Après, il y a
Donc, je vais le faire en français, comme ça je suis sûr que tout le monde comprendra. Donc, je suis David Latartigue, président de Scriptarium qui a sorti le jeu de rôle des Fantastiques. J'aurais une question pour vous, en tant que joueur. Est-ce que, encore aujourd'hui, donc 30 ans après avoir créé des séries, vous lisez encore de nouvelles aventures dont vous êtes le héros que vous trouvez sur le net, par exemple?
So,
It's an invitation.
not exactly. I know it sounds very welcoming. So he is into role playing and stuff, and he wants to know, like 30 years after, do you still read game books online or this sort of thing?
I look at them, I don't read them like I used to. I still play, we still play a lot of games. The games that we play are, well, apart from computer games and things, but Ian and I and some other gaming friends get together once every 3 weeks or so. Mainly we play German board games. German board games, yeah. Wolfgang Krainer, Rainer Knizia, people like that. So yes, it's still interesting when new ones come along to see what people are doing with them. Yeah, so we're always looking for new ideas.
Donc toujours à l'affût de nouvelles idées. De temps en temps, il regarde ce qui se fait en ligne, mais apparemment c'est pas son support privilégié. Par contre, des jeux de plateau allemands. Alors je pense que David est mieux placé que moi pour donner les noms.
En fait, je n'ai pas
Could you repeat the name of the German board games?
Well, Rainer Knizia is the most prolific, isn't it? Rainer Knizia. Rainer Knizia. Oh yes, he is a German doctor of mathematics, lives in Windsor in England, and he has had over 500 games published. This does include in different countries, the same game in different countries, but probably he's had 150 original games published. It's just phenomenal.
Donc, cet Allemand vit à Windsor, il est docteur en mathématiques et il a créé au bas mot 150 jeux. Et si on compte les variantes dans différents pays, on arrive à quelque chose comme 500. Ça paraît époustouflant.
There is a lot of these games that we play are being converted to apps these days. So multiplayer apps, do you...
Donc, ces jeux sont en train d'être convertis en applications, y compris multijoueurs apparemment.
I can recommend a game called Ticket to Ride.
Ticket to Ride.
You know Ticket to Ride?
Les aventuriers du rail.
Yeah?
The French version is aventurier du rail.
Oh, okay.
Merci beaucoup.
What else? There is a wonderful game called Caylus as well. Caylus. You know that game? How on earth did they balance that? Yeah, buy the castle, build a castle, yeah. How on earth did they balance that game? It's just fantastic.
Donc Kelly, c'est ça le jeu?
Caylus.
Kelly, pardon.
Caylus, c'est français en fait.
Voilà. Oui, c'est la personne.
C'est français, c'est Starry, l'éditeur. Mais c'est un auteur français.
French writer. With English name.
Is he French writer?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. If you see him, tell him it's a wonderful game.
A big hit for a French game.
Yeah.
But they are board games, or
They are board games, but the Germans they make beautiful board games. And a lot of the games that they do are really abstract games, but they're fit to a theme, like growing potatoes or building a castle, or something like that. And usually not too difficult to learn, not very complicated, but that germ of an idea, a brilliant idea that the whole game is based around, with beautiful components. Fantastic.
Donc apparemment, il y a un véritable talent allemand dans ce domaine, capable de créer des jeux sur des thèmes plus ou moins improbables, de la construction de châteaux à la culture des pommes de terre, avec une exécution visiblement particulièrement fine, sans compter le détail du scénario.
I think we've wandered off the subject a little bit.
C'est peut-être un petit peu éloigné.